Hey guys, in this video I'm gonna show you the wonderful website Bdolytics. Every life skiller should have this site bookmarked. It's a market overview, node map and life skill calculator all in one. If you ever wondered how to find profitable recipes and how to liquidate the millions of materials in your storage, then Bdolytics is your site. What you'll get in this guide is a beginner-friendly introduction to Bdolytics for cooking. To get a tour of the whole site, including all the other life skills, you can watch the video linked on the homepage. When you're on the homepage, the first thing you want to do is set your region in the top right. Both PC and console are supported. Then head to the settings and here you can enter your tax bracket, whether you have a value pack and your weight. For the gathering setup, enter your mastery, energy and whether you run a karma, blessing, villa and potion usage. That's gonna be used later for the gathering plus cooking profit. For cooking, you have the cooking mastery and cook time. And you can enter two settings, speed cooking, that's with silver embroidered clothes, and slow cooking, that's with mastery clothes. When entering the cook time, make sure you include the server lag. It's somewhere around 0.2 seconds for most people, but can vary based on your connection to the game. Lastly, you want to choose what to use the cooking byproducts for. I personally put cheese, which actually stands for turning all byproducts into milk and then into cheese to liquidate them into raw silver. The site has different cooking-related tools including a market overview, Imperial cooking table, XP and CP calculators, and the recipe pages. We'll start out with the recipe page, which is where cooks will spend most of their time on the website. It has quite a lot of features, so we work ourselves through it at 3 levels, from simple to more advanced. Let's start with vinegar on level 1. We can reach the recipe page for it through the global search in the top right. On the far right is the recipe 1 wheat, strawberry, leavening agent and sugar. Instead of wheat, we could also use any other grain selectable through the drop-down. At the top there's the craft quantity where we can specify how many crafts of the recipe we want to do. If I enter 1k crafts, it shows that we need this many of the ingredients and get this much vinegar. We also get byproducts which Bdolytics has automatically converted into cheese because that's what we selected in the settings. The prices you see next to the items are the market price, which get updated automatically. Vendor items have vendor price, of course. We can also enter our own item values through custom prices. Vinegar can be crafted into pickled vegetables, which is gonna be level 2 for us. Here we have a multi-level recipe with vinegar being a sub-recipe of pickled vegetables. By default, Bdolytics assumes that we craft all sub-recipes ourselves and sums up the ingredients in the ingredient list. If we wanted to buy the vinegar, we would indicate that by pressing the minus sign, which collapses the vinegar recipe. If we do that, then the ingredients for vinegar will vanish from the ingredient list and the vinegar itself appears as an ingredient. Down at the bottom we can see the profit for the selected number of crafts and the profit per hour. That is if we sold all products on the market. If we want to keep the products for ourselves, for example to pack them into Imperial boxes, we can press the keep button to negate the market tax. Also, you can press the slow cook button to indicate that you use mastery clothes for cooking this recipe. Note that it only applies to the pickled vegetable craft, and for all sub-recipes there's an individual button in the recipe tree. Pickled vegetables can be cooked further into the recipe in our final level, King of Jungle Hamburgs. Since pickled vegetables has a rare proc, we can toggle between using the rare proc and cooking or selling it with using the use rare procs button. If you're wondering if selling or using the rare proc is better, just toggle the button and see which one leads to the highest profit. And here we're gonna use the minus button you've seen on the last level to improve our cooking profit. Right now we craft teff bread and as part of that teff flour. But teff flour is a processing recipe and we never ever want to mix up processing and cooking profits. That's why we'll go ahead and collapse the teff flour, which brings up the profit per hour on the hamburg significantly. If you're looking for the absolute highest profit per hour, you could also kick out the cheaper recipes like vinegar and teff bread, but that's up to you. Another way to increase cooking profits is to gather our own materials like the lion meat. To indicate that it's self-gathered, we press the tax button. You might be wondering why we don't value the lion meat at 0. We didn't pay any money for it after all. Well, because once we have gathered the meat, we can do 2 things with it. Either sell it to the market or use it in cooking. By using it in cooking, we give up on the chance of selling it. So what we're really calculating by pressing the tax button is the money made from cooking the lion meat compared to selling it. To recap, we use the tax button on all self-sourced items like node, farming, processing and gathering products. And we don't use it on items we bought off the market. You may have noticed the 2 additional tabs on the recipe page. They have insanely cool features, so let's check them out. If we go to the weight tab, Bdolytics shows how many crafts of the current recipe we can fit into our inventory based on the weight we entered in the settings. It's a super useful feature and I use it all the time. In the Analytics tab, we get a breakdown of the crafting time and crafting cost as a nice chart. But this tab also has a bonus feature. For that, let's head back to the ingredients. You can see that there's a little hoe next to line meat, which indicates that it's gatherable. We can text the line meat to indicate that we gathered it, and now in the Analytics tab we get a breakdown of the combined gathering and cooking profit. I'll quickly edit the crafts to have the gather and cook time sum up to exactly 1 hour. So for this setup we'd spend 30 minutes gathering and 30 minutes cooking and make this much money. That includes the Hamburg sale revenue, cooking byproducts, and the rare drops from gathering like hearts and sharps. To give you an idea of how that compares to similar recipes, here's the gather cooking profit for chef sandwich. What you want to look for is obviously the profit, but also how active it is, meaning the ratio of gather to cook time. And some dishes are more profitable than others, but also require more active time, so you'll have to find a trade-off that you can live with. Hamburgs are not only good profit, but also give a lot of XP. For all your XP needs, Bdolytics has a cooking XP calculator as well as a contribution point calculator. There's also the Imperial table, which a few other websites have as well. But Bdolytics has by far the most useful one because it not only shows the money you can make from buying dishes, but also if you craft them yourself. Just enter your cooking mastery at the time of handing in the boxes, so with mastery clothes equipped, and then sort and filter the list to your liking. If you're buying the dishes, this is all you'll ever need. But if you cook the dishes yourself, I'd recommend to take this table as a starting point to find profitable boxes and then head into the actual box recipe page to fine-tune the recipes and identify bottlenecks. Finally, there's the cooking overview. You can sort the table by different figures, for example, profit or daily volume, which is how many of that item are sold on the market per day. And you can also search by a material or dish to bring up all dishes which use that item. I know when you're first looking at this table, you go like, what the hell, this is so many recipes, how do I even deal with this? You could just sort by silver per hour and hope for the best, but that doesn't get you very far because it brings up all the dishes with good profit but also horrendous bottlenecks and no demand. So how do we identify dishes that are actually worth crafting? I'll show you a simple 3-step method that you can apply every time you want to find profitable dishes. The method involves a starting pool of dishes and then kicking out infeasible dishes until all the remaining dishes are viable to craft. So we're pretty much gonna play 3 rounds of wipeout with cooking recipes. To demonstrate the method, let's try to find profitable dishes with meat, which I'm sure many hunters and gatherers are interested in. We start by punching in any meat into the search bar, and that's our starting pool of recipes. Our goal is to get from this still rather big list to a handful of viable recipes. And that's why in step number 1 we kick out all dishes below a certain daily volume. I like to use 20k because below that selling dishes becomes extremely slow. So all dishes with a volume below 20k have to go home. And to mark all remaining candidates we'll use the favorites button. In step number 2 we'll identify bottlenecks of the remaining dishes because that's what's stopping us from crafting some of them. For that, we'll open a new tab for every recipe in this list and see if there's any red marks, which means the material is sold out. Keep in mind that some materials can be temporarily sold out even they're normally in stock. It's quite a bit of work if you're doing this for the first time, but as you get more into cooking, you'll be able to call out bottlenecks just by looking at the recipe name. I'll do 2 examples from this list, red sauce and organic feed. Red sauce has a red mark on lamb meat, which we'll replace with wolf meat and then text to indicate that we gather or hunt it ourselves. Organic feed, on the other hand, is bottlenecked by dried fish and milk. Okay, so repeat this with every recipe in the list. By the way, if you open new tabs in your browser and edit stuff like I'm doing here, make sure you refresh the original page to apply the changes. Back in the list, I annotated each dish with its bottlenecks. You can either do that mentally or scribble it on a piece of paper. And in step number 3, we can finally sort by silver per hour and kick out the ones with negative profit. And then you can decide which of the remaining dishes you could see yourself crafting, or rather, which of these bottlenecks you're able to address. You could say, screw it, I don't want any bottlenecks, I'll just go with red sauce. Or if you have milk and dried fish, organic feed can be an option. And that's it for this video. I hope I could give you an overview of the site and how it can help you in your cooking adventures. I also got a video coming up where we go a lot deeper into the min-maxing aspects of cooking using Bdolytics. Take care!